Sick Harrison Price for Thursday, November 27th, 2025. We are a presentation of Bet365, coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio here at the historic Wall Center. Visit shoptoyota.ca or visit your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. Matt Sick Harrison alongside Blake Price. Mike Rogerson hitting switches, conducting things alongside intern Braden Coombs. We got a big show for you. After a game as entertaining in the regular season as you can hope for. That was 2.5 hours well spent last night watching your Vancouver Canucks. We had kicked around a poll question idea earlier in the week. Does watching a Canucks game feel like a duty or a chore these days? Boy, not when they're like that. Make them all like that.
The Canucks for years, and more particularly in Glendale against the Coyotes, but for years, these trips to the bottom of the Pacific Division, and they were at the bottom, those two teams generally, they've been where games go to die. And no entertainment value, nondescript contests, nothing to speak of. That one was fun. Like, I honestly don't remember the last time I saw the Canucks in Anaheim, even on TV, and thought, wow, what a great game. That was fun. Now, we're going to break this down a little bit throughout the course of the show, but I don't think it was textbook. I don't think that Scotty Bowman's going, that's the future of hockey.
Oh, but why do you have to be that guy, Blake? Like, we talk so much about how boring and dreadful hockey coaches can make the sport. Let's just celebrate and encourage.
I bring it up, Matt, because lest anybody assume this is a launching point to something different for the Vancouver Canucks.
Oh, you're such a wet blanket. Adam Foote was... Yeah, he didn't necessarily want to give up that much.
No. That is not the recipe for victories.
Go end-to-end quite that much. He even said Anaheim he didn't think wanted to go that far gone into up and down, basically pond hockey.
People have been saying, more so the Mammoth and the Ducks, but people have been saying, okay, this is a team that's ready to take the next step. That does not look like a team that's ready to take the next step based on their defensive posture.
That looks like a team that is ready to win a lot of regular season games and lose in 5 games of the first round if they play like that. Now,
no Lucas Dostal
wasn't playing last night. It was a backup goaltender.
But still, that gives you an indication of what they rely on him for, and that is to save the day, apparently. Because if they're taking on a better team than the Canucks, that's an even uglier game for Anaheim.
The other thing I'll say there is, that looks like it's going to be a playoff team or a team that is in playoff position come the deadline. After 7-8 years of rebuilding, they do have some assets that they can part with to try and stiffen that team up a bit.
Second lowest cap hit in the NHL.
Yeah, they got oodles of cap space. Oodles. They are as well positioned, I think.
Yeah.
Young players, cap space, draft picks, and prospects as just about any team out there.
Just the third loss on home ice this season for the Ducks.
Mm-hmm. We got a couple of Redwoods Golf Course poll questions. Okay, we'll start with the one we fired last night, just in the aftermath of the game. Were the Canucks good or lucky versus the Ducks? I voted good because there was a ton out there that you could classify as good, from the goaltender to some of the younger bottom 6 players stepping up and having games. Phil Roenick, we'll get into it all here in a second, but I voted good.
Despite what I said, they were good in the flawed way that they played. Like, it's not like, there was some crazy plays. The crazy plays actually ended up in the back of the net. Thinking of the McTavish goal where Tolipilo ends up sliding into the corner, basically. For the most part, the Canucks executed the way that they have been executing and shooting with a high shooting percentage and all that sort of stuff. No, I I think both can be true at the same time. What I said earlier, that's not the right way to play, but that is the way that they play, and they executed last night. So I'll still be able to say that they played good.
We also have a poll question about Kiefer Sherwood and his value. And look, needless to say, the events of this Canuck week are much bigger and more important than a one-off victory against the Anaheim Ducks. All that said, we have spent the last couple of days dissecting all the news from Jim Rutherford and the new course that the Canucks are charting in this season, including the trading of veterans and UFAs, plus, of course, the bigger overarching question about Quinn Hughes. We've done that for the last few days, so I sort of wanted to focus on a fun game last night, because God knows that was a fun game. God knows how many more of those games we have for the remainder of this year. But needless to say, and I got to say, I was a little alarmed when I saw Ian McIntyre tweet yesterday about maybe his last game as a Vancouver Canuck. We know Rutherford has acted quickly in the past. We know he has called his shot in the past before. So who knows how many more times we're going to get to enjoy watching Kiefer Sherwood play hockey in a Canuck sweater, and very much have enjoyed Kiefer Sherwood playing hockey in a Canucks sweater. He had an awesome year last year. He's having another banger this year. We're asking you, is a late first-round pick good enough return for Kiefer Sherwood? I saw Drance speculate earlier in the week. He thought they could get a second-round pick. To me, that's not nearly enough. Guy's making $1.5 million. He hits everything that moves and he scores. Yes, I know the shooting percentage is high and likely to come down, but at the already 12 in the bank, Blake, he's got like 50-some games left to score 8 and be a 20-goal scorer. Plus, he's a playoff performer. So I'll get deeper into this tomorrow, but no, I want more.
Generally speaking, the second rounder would be the cost, but I think given the market that is currently available to you, I think you could
There's
probably bump it up.
There's not many sellers. No, I mean, it's Vancouver, it's St. Louis, and then Nashville and Calgary have to sort of make their call here. Who knows? The Leafs may be joining them at some point. Anyways, you can vote on the Sherwood question as well as last night. Lucky or good at Sekerson Price on X and on YouTube. Our friends at the Redwoods Golf Course specialize in custom corporate events, and they can do an event unlike any other. They got the large heated covered driving range. Your group will have an absolute blast hitting some balls. You can work in their PGA of Canada teaching professional, Craig. He can give you some pointers. He may even have some nice things to say about your swing like he did for Blake Price. He did like my chipping, though, and my putting.
He had to say something nice.
I was feeling left out. And if you have a child age 6 to 16, set them up for the sport of a lifetime out at the Redwoods. Private, semi-private lessons available. Go to redwoods-golf.com. Time now for our top story, brought to you by Yellow Dog Brewing, Neighborhood Brewing, Foolish Winery. So much fun. Canucks beat the Ducks 5-4 in just about as entertaining a game as you can see for the NHL regular season. At their worst moment of the year, with management vowing to trade veterans down to their third-string goalie, fourth goalie they've used this season, the Canucks, to continue to show their resilient group, they beat the best team in the Pacific Division. Nikita Tolipilo, the big Belarusian. We got a friend here at the Wall Center, Merrick, who I crossed paths with, and he goes, Matt, Tolipilo is just a Goliath in the cage. Like a demonstrable difference in size, even between Demko's not a small man and Tolipilo. I mean, the guy just looked like Godzilla in there in terms of his size. 37 saves in just his second NHL start against the league's second-best offense. This despite missing a month already this season with an injury, only playing the 5 games down in Abbotsford. And he got the exact same workload as Yuri Patera got last week in Florida, Blake. That is 2 straight road games where the Canucks give up 41 shots on goal.
It is shocking. I was shocked at the Patera one where they're, you've got a guy.
You've got a backup keeper.
Like you would think you're putting up a river rock wall in front of the keeper. No, it didn't happen. Well, now it's happening. They do it again. They just play pond hockey. Nah, our new guy who doesn't have any of the NHL experience, he'll be fine. It wasn't the most calming performance for me to watch Nikita Tolipilo in action. But because he is so long and there's just so much of him, he flails around a little bit, and yet he's able to keep the puck out. I don't know if that's repeatable. Like, I don't know if that's just how he rolls. Interestingly enough, I heard Sasson after the game saying, hey, he is so sedate, so calm. I was like, whoa, that's not, he meant the personality of the player is that. That's good that that's his personality, because that allows him maybe to have some level of control in the wildness that is around him. We'll see. I'm going to guess we get a couple of more Tolipilo starts here over this stretch, even if Lankinen does come back on this road trip, Matt. We're going to see Tolipilo once or twice more times here. We'll see what it looks like.
Yes, he's not exactly square to the puck economy of movement like King Henrik.
Oh, Demko is a very calm keeper. You know, that's not what we saw. Now,
there was a lot of scrambly last night, but hey, he got the job done, and we can worry about process later because they're desperate for wins right now, as we know. Let's hear from the big Belarusian. Here's Tolipilo on the win and on his performance.
Ball hard today, everyone ball hard, so I think we deserve that win.
Well, 37 saves for yourself in just your third NHL game. How would you evaluate your game in this one?
It's not bad, but it could be better. Something to clean up, and but as I said, the most important, it's like the team got the win, so I'm happy with that.
And as you mentioned yesterday, Blake, like this is not the youngest guy, right? Like this is a guy's mid-20s, not early 20s.
Yeah.
So it's not like you threw a prospect with limited professional experience out there. He's got more resume than that, including the 2 NHL games, 1 start that he made at the end of last season when the Canucks were out of playoff contention. Look, he was an Ian Clark special. He was added by the Canucks' former goaltending coach, now scout, former director of goaltending. Ian's got a long track record of finding these players, typically in Russia, Belarus, bringing them over. And look, the Canucks may have found something here.
Yep, it's possible.
You know, especially as we consider veterans being available. We talked about Thatcher Demko the other day. Is there any world where you would solve the Oilers' problem and trade them Thatcher Demko right now, who does not have trade protection until that extension kicks in July? Do you just have to cut bait and say, we love Thatcher when he's healthy. He's just not healthy enough. It's time to move on, especially with Lankinen under long-term contract. And, of course, if you have confidence that Tolipilo can be a guy going forward. We'll see. Early days, but they may well have discovered an unpolished gem here.
And of course, they're all just trying to bide their time until Medvedev becomes ready, right?
We'll see.
He looks like the real deal.
He looks great in the OHL, playing for the best team in the OHL, the defending Memorial Cup champions.
But I'm saying he's the odds-on goalie of the future. He's the odds-on goalie.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Over why? Who?
Well, because typically goaltenders take like 5 years to get to the NHL, and a lot can go wrong in that 5 years.
Yeah, but nobody in the farm system now has the pedigree of Medvedev.
None of them are second-round picks, but many of them are going to get opportunities at the professional level before he does.
Right. Yeah, just by virtue of being the age that they are, yes.
Yeah.
I'd still put my money
what's
on
the hit rate of second-round goaltenders? Demko's one.
Mm-hmm.
But a long, long way to go for Medvedev.
Very similar market. Very similar, dearth of goalies in the drafts of Demko and Medvedev. It's actually a really good comparison. Like, it's not like there was a ton of goalies.
Was there not a first-round goal? I thought there was one first-round goalie last year. I thought it was Columbus took the kid. I want to say he's Russian as well. No, I've just my headspace, Blake, and he's finally looking good this year. Sebastian Casa, you remember the Red Wings took him in the first round, 2021.
Yeah. Demko's the second goalie chosen in his draft as well.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, again, you're getting the best in class or close to it in both of those cases.
Another really strong night from defenseman Philip Hronek. We've been saying this now for a couple of weeks. 2 assists. He's the Corsi leader on the Canucks at 62.5%. Ducks outshot the Canucks 28-19 at evens. With Hronek on the ice, Canucks held the shot advantage. It was 12-10. Without him, it was 18-7. He continues to be the outlier there, right? Like we've talked about the Canucks with Quinn Hughes on the ice, without Quinn Hughes on the ice, how it tends to be very lopsided against them when Hughes isn't on the ice. Well, when Philip Hronek's on the ice, good things are happening for the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, expected goals says it all. I mean, there's just bottom line right now. Yeah, well, I shouldn't say bottom line. There is the prospect of bottom line with him out there. And, we always wondered, I think, as much as they were a great pairing, Hughes and Hronek, how good. We knew that Hughes was the better of the two in years gone by, but how good was Hronek in and of himself?
Can he carry his own pair?
Yeah, asked it many a times.
I think he can.
The answer is yes.
This is a hell of a hockey player.
Yeah.
Also, big nights from the former Abbey crew and that beyond Tolipilo. 2-point nights for Max Sassone and Tom Wielander. Linus Carlson has 3 goals in his last 5, 4 goals in his last 8. You can see the improvement game to game, even shift to shift with Linus Carlson right now. It was a slow start to the season. Adam Foote was talking about him earlier this week. And not just talking about, and Foote even mentioned, from top of the circles down, he's always been very good. But Foote was talking this week about how he's even getting better at tracking back defensively when he has to be the first forward back. So there's some really good signs right now from Linus Carlson. Of course, a huge part of that AHL Calder Cup championship last year. And Evander Kane scores his first in 9. Needed that one, especially he's on the block too. You want as big a return as possible for Evander Kane. May have to retain salary there. Canucks snap a 3-game losing streak in an up and down, chances galore shootout in Anaheim. It felt like a ride at Disney.
It did.
Space Mountain?
You probably don't know Disney very well these days, do you?
Well, we went to Disney. Carmen and I went to Disney the year that we went on the California road trip with the Canucks with that contest winner. So when was that? 10 years ago?
I'll say it's like Indiana Jones because it's a little unexpected, a little bit bumpy. Don't know what's around every corner.
I did the Star Wars ride with the, is it the TIE fighter or the X-Wing fighter? I forget.
You haven't seen Diddley now. They've redone all the Star Wars rides.
Oh, really?
It's crazy.
When were you last there?
August.
Oh.
Yeah.
They still have Jungle Cruise?
They do.
Does the hippo still surprise you, scare you?
Didn't do Jungle Cruise. Wasn't high on the priority list.
Do they still have Space Mountain?
Yeah.
Is it still in the dark?
Yeah.
Is it still terrifying?
Yeah, it gives me a headache.
I was white as a ghost as a child on that ride. I struggled with roller coasters to begin with in the dark.
Same soundtrack, too.
Scale the Matterhorn?
Yeah.
So that was you, huh? On the local news. Yet another fence line breach of the Matterhorn.
I don't think this
Who is that
mountain's
up
real.
there? Oh, it's a crazy Canadian. He wants the telemark down. The Ducks did score a power play goal last night. But as JPat notes, Canucks killed off 5 of 6 opportunities, including 3 in the third period. PK is 11 for 12 over the last 3 games, Blake. Tyler Myers, Marcus Pettersson getting some shine there.
I'll say this.
Garland as well, leading all forwards in PK time.
Less so on the last one, but the penultimate and the one before that. They were so quick to there was the one where the Ducks barely got possession in the offensive zone on the power play. But the Canucks were way more swarmy, way quicker to the puck. I find a lot of modern PKs are like, you can have the puck. We don't care. We're not going to challenge you. We're just going to prevent you from getting. And I get the theory of that, Matt. Mm-hmm. But my goodness, when you are active and just on top of the player, to me, that was Exhibit A last night. They were way more aggressive to the puck holder and batted almost 1,000 in dispossessing the player and sending it down the ice. I wonder if they should just completely reverse tactics, because they seem so passive on the PK at the start of the season. Let's just go full on aggression.
Do you need a certain type of player to do that, particularly forward? Garland, Sherwood, pretty good, changing directions, agility, dexterity, able to play that swarm style.
I mean, I remember DeBrusque was out there and was effective in doing that.
Kampf, of course, David Kampf, this is part of his meal ticket in his NHL years with Toronto.
Yeah, you don't need straight ahead speed. You need that quick burst for one
That's
step.
right. Short area quickness is what you need. And how about this? The Vancouver Canucks are now up to 31st in the National Hockey League on the PK.
We're 31.
Our buddy Travis Green and the Ottawa Senators, despite being the only Canadian team above the playoff bar, are somehow worse than the Canucks, 69.7% to 70.7%. It's a Christmas miracle, Blake.
Yeah.
They are not worst on the penalty kill. Incidentally, how is Travis Green doing it? The goaltending has been, for the most part, shit. They can't keep the puck out of their net on the PK, and yet they're second place in the Atlantic Division with 28 points in 23 games. Their plus goal differential. Attaboy, TG. Win jumps the Canucks ahead of St. Louis, actually. Still 7 points out of the Western Conference wildcard standings. Still seventh, in the Western Conference wildcard standings. 5 points out of a playoff spot. 5 teams to jump. 77% of teams that are at or above the playoff bar at U.S. Thanksgiving historically qualify for the postseason. But as Blake has been telling you all month, because of the condensed schedule, we're actually a few games past where we normally are on U.S. Thanksgiving.
And that was not a 7-point win for the Canucks last night. So they did not jump above the bar.
No,
they've been very
not
few
many of those available,
no.
Actually.
Should negotiate with Gary to see if that's. They put in a 3-point line in basketball. Why not a 7-point win?
Yeah, the Canucks pressed. It's a 7-point game.
Yeah, exactly. It's like your local golf match.
Yeah. I know they've gone bogey, double, triple, but now they're pressing. Gonna enjoy a yellow dog for this U.S. Thanksgiving today, I think.
Are we allowed to celebrate with
absolutely
a beer on U.S. Thanksgiving?
We have American relatives in town. We're doing a full on.
Well, if you're seeing other people, you should bring with you a Neighborhood Brewing Tourist Pilsner Mix Pack. You take your taste buds on a world tour with the Tourist Pilsner Pack. And I've been all over the Pilsners lately. I don't know why. I'm into the Pilsners. 3 destinations, 1 box, 0 jet lag. You got the crisp, hop-forward Pursuit Czech Pilsner. Stroll through the bright and stylish exchange student Italian Pilsner. And wrap it up back home with the clean, refreshing Little Rabbits Canadian Pilsner. I know what they're referencing there. Each beer is a passport stamp and flavor, brewed with global inspiration and neighborhood attitude. No flights, no lines, just pure Pilsner adventure.
Wabbits?
Little Rabbits. If you know, you know.
I don't know.
I'll let you know later.
I know. There was the time people ate rabbit around Thanksgiving, too.
Oh, really? Yeah, sure.
Time now for Crave the Stats, brought to you by Uber Eats. And today we look at the expected goals from last night's game, a little deeper into this performance from Nikita Tolipilo.
6.16 expected goals for the Anaheim Ducks and just over 3.5 for the Vancouver Canucks. This should have been a 7-3, 7-4 kind of game. And Nikita Tolipilo, again, it wasn't the most balletic goaltending display I've ever seen, but he did the job. 17% of the chances for the Anaheim Ducks were high danger chances, and Tom Willander even said this out loud. So did Max Sasson in different words, but Tom Willander, in exact words, said he was great. because he faced a lot of chances, and they weren't just low-grade chances. Those were high-danger, like Tom Hollander throwing himself under the bus. We gave him a lot of high-danger chances to handle, and he handled them for the most part. I think you can throw out the fourth goal because I think at that point he knew they were not scoring 2 goals in 7 seconds. But, I'm really intrigued what starts 2 and 3 now look like for Tolipilo.
Apparently not like Barishnikov or Nureyev.
No, he was not.
So you're not the only one who can do obscure references.
If you're craving references and obscure stats, this is the place to find them. Crave the Stats, brought to you by Uber Eats. Download the app today, and then you'll not miss out on game day deals for Canucks games. Log on to the app, find out what will save you money, and be the hero in your house as the food arrives at the doorstep with no preparation needed for yourself. That's what it's all about for Uber Eats.
I think we're going with that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Adam Foote did say, speaking of goaltending, that there is a chance that Kevin Lankinen will rejoin the Canucks off of his personal leave on this road trip. Thatcher Demko and Nils Höglander are expected to join the team in Los Angeles on Saturday to begin practicing. So I guess they're going to do a morning skate in L.A. I mean, it is an afternoon game in San Jose.
Yeah.
And because Sunday right now is scheduled as a team day off before they depart California and make their way to Colorado for next week's game against the Colorado Avalanche, the best team. Tuesday's game against the Colorado Avalanche. I guess they will have a Monday practice, though, too.
Is it bad that I'm minorly excited for the return of Nils Höglander?
No.
I
I was excited when I saw that yesterday, too. They need every player they've got right now.
And again, at this point, I consider him more of a scratch and win ticket than anything else because I really don't know what Nils Höglander is going to give you coming off of an injury.
He's going to give you effort. He always gives you effort.
Yeah. But, he is paid for bottom line at this point at his price tag. Is there bottom line from Nils Höglander? I hope there is.
Got to be. One more hockey note. Vancouver Golden Eyes of the PWHL. They fall 5-1 last night in our nation's capital against the Ottawa Charge. This was their inaugural road game coming off the big, dramatic overtime victory Friday at the Pacific Coliseum in their season and franchise opener. Charge badly outshot Vancouver last night. It was 35-19. It was even worse than that after 2 periods.
I think it was the home opener for Ottawa, though, wasn't it? So, they rose to the occasion.
Forward Sarah Nurse did not play with an upper body injury. Claire Thompson had Vancouver's only goal. The Golden Eyes are in New York on Saturday. Let's get into today's menu, brought to you by Greta. A fantastic spot to pregame or postgame. You were mere steps from the arena and stadium. We have another Canucks Army one-word watch party coming up at Greta. We'll be telling you about that here shortly. And if you need a venue for a special event, gathering, family party, holiday party, Christmas party, whatever you want, check out Greta. The fantastic street food menu. The smash burger is delicious. Plus the arcade that is just so much fun. Hours and hours spent. Air hockey, Pop-A-Shot, and all the other fantastic games. Those driving consoles, my gosh. They're realistic these days. Check them all out. You can go to gretabar.com. Greta 50 West Cordova. Let the games begin. What a gigantic show we have today. We'll be joined by David Pagnotta of the fourth period. Also, DFO Rundown Insider. That goes Wednesdays on the Nation Network with our buddy Irf Gafar. It's insider season, and the Vancouver Canucks are front and center yet again. So David's going to tell us what he's hearing on Kiefer Sherwood, Connor Garland, Tyler Myers, Drew O'Connor, plus elsewhere around the NHL. We'll talk to JPat. Talking to JPat after
David.
Okay.
Yep.
JPat. Also
the middle
on
patty in this triple burger. Yes.
Also on the events of this week, it's our first chance to talk to Jeff. He'll tell you he's going to take you inside Rogers Arena on Monday for what happened, what turned out to be a summit between the head coach, the president, the GM, and the captain, Quinn Hughes. We'll talk to Patrick Johnston as well of the Province and Postmedia. He had the big story quoting Rutherford, getting a Canuck executive to utter the word rebuild. It'd been 8 years, but it was said, quoted accurately, fairly. We'll get Patrick to expand on everything that we heard from Rutherford this week. And, of course, we will point forward to the Vancouver Whitecaps and their gigantic playoff match Saturday at San Diego. The Blue Jays make a huge splash in free agency. The Seahawks are bringing back familiar names. And Simon Fraser is finally coming home to play other Canadian institutions in U Sport and Canada West. All of that
Paterson
coming up on today's program.
Patrick, it's a double patty on a Pagnotta bun. Doesn't that sound like a burger?
It's not the worst, actually. I was scared when you started that. Okay. He's found another Pat. He thinks this is cute. Time now for our Bet365 bets of the day. Did you win last night?
I think I was on the charge to fall to the. What did I voted?
You were on the PWHL game. I just don't remember what you.
I think I was on the Golden Ice.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, 5-1, not close.
Yeah, I lost as well. So, wait a second. No, I had Sherwood goal. He had that breakaway and he missed, but then he scored.
Sure, we didn't have a goal. No, he gave credit to.
Oh, right. Damn it.
It was the right call. He celebrated like he scored.
Yes.
You know?
He had the goal, and then they changed the scoring on it.
And the replay verified it. He did not touch the puck.
I know.
I think he felt his stick hit the opponent's stick and thought that was the puck.
No, I had two chances there was sure it was taken off the board. Look, on this Whitecaps match. So I'd like to think this one's going to be a little easier on the ticker than Saturday at BC Place.
Ooh.
But I also can't imagine anything comes easy this late in the season against quality opponents. I was going to pick the draw after nailing that last week, but then I found something I like better on the Bet365 menu.
Okay.
A Caps win plus both teams to score. So can't win via clean sheet, but can win in regulation, beyond regulation, and in penalties, so long as San Diego gets a goal too. It pays plus 450. Caps win at any point, so long as both teams score. You get 2-1, you get 3-2, you get all of those combinations, plus 450.
And I think I played some role in you winning last week because I blessed your pick. I asked you for the score, the 2-2, and I agreed with you. I will agree with this pick as well for you. I'll bless it. We
have a American Pope in the Vatican. We have a Canadian Pope here at the Pacific Toyota Dealers Studio. Was that your holy water?
Yes.
Blake hasn't been to Mass of late. It's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Huh?
I was.
How are your stockpiles of myrrh and frankincense doing?
The Canucks have not won back-to-back games in over a month.
Do you have a real-life manger in the front for December?
I proposed that this year, but I was soundly voted down.
Real-life donkey?
The Canucks have not won back-to-back games in over a month now. Until they do, they haven't. So I'm going Sharks.
Thank you for that.
You got to prove it to me. The Sharks are the dogs at home.
Yeah.
Explain me that.
Yeah, well,
one game.
The betting public still isn't buying San Jose yet.
Plus 100 on the Sharks. I got to take it. Got to.
By the way, I got a note about Macklin's little brother, RJ,
yeah,
on the North Shore and what he's doing as a kid.
They still saying he's going to be better?
We'll get to that story next week.
Oh.
This segment, a presentation of Bet365. This is a betting segment. We should probably keep 14-year-olds out of it.
It's a good tip.
The segment is a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game, use code NATION when doing so, because you must be 19 and over. Please play responsibly. David Pagnotta coming up next. Sick Harrison Price from the historic Wall Center.
This segment brought to you by your Pacific Toyota dealers and the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. If you've been wanting to dabble a toe into more fuel efficiency, into electric, this is perfect for you. When you're around town, you're driving an electric car, 72 kilometers of pure electric range. You'll never see that gas gauge move. But when you need it, kids got a game in the valley, on the island, it's okay. Flip it into hybrid mode, and you are going as far as you can see. So have your cake and eat it too with the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. Go take one for a test drive and also find out how fun and luxurious this car is. It is so great. The SC from $99 weekly at 3.49% APR for 64 months with $3,600 down, and it includes a $3,000 discount. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today.
As we welcome into the program the editor-in-chief of the Fourth Period, he's the host of DFO Rundown Insider on Wednesdays with our buddy Irf Ghaffar here on the Nation Network. Looking forward to weekly chit-chats with David Pagnotta. Now that we've reached Insider season, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, boys. It's the conversations are never dull, especially in Vancouver, with everything going on. So things are picking up. Things are percolating a little bit more, which is nice. But now let's see when the action actually comes through and these guys follow through with some of these talks.
Think of where you guys would be without the Vancouver Canucks, David. Year after year, they deliver.
Their content providers.
In trade season for everybody. Okay, let's get going here. First, because we understand it's probably the most urgent situation, is Kiefer Sherwood. What are you hearing there?
Yeah, he's the prize piece in terms of what they're willing to move, who they're willing to move, and it's not just the offense; it's a trifecta for teams, contenders that are looking to really bolster their lineups going down into the season, later on in the stretch, and so on, and into the playoffs. It's his goal scoring ability, it's his physicality, and it's his cap hit this season. All three of those make him one of the most attractive available pieces in the trade market and will continue to until he's ultimately moved. $1.5 million cap hit is a sweetheart of a deal for what he brings to the table. Teams love his energy. They love the fact that he's not afraid to throw the body and he can finish. So without question, he's up there. I know there's been some talk of, high draft picks and second round picks and things like that. I'm anticipating the likelihood of a first round pick as a return with respect to the asking price. As part of a deal for Kiefer Sherwood. They hadn't really had any talks or actual negotiations, I should say, earlier on in the season with respect to an extension. I've got to imagine that everyone around the league kind of understands he's going to be in that $4-5 million range on an AAV, depending on term. But I don't anticipate the Canucks giving any team permission to talk to his agent. So you're looking at the acquisition cost being for this season, and then you're going to worry about it, take the risk, and worry about the future later. But he's the prime guy, and any contender, really, any top-tier team is going to have a conversation, at least poke around to see what they can do to try to pry him out of Vancouver.
Because of that cap hit, any Evander Kane-sized cap hit, for instance, might have to wait till later in the season, or you hold back and retain just to whittle that down. Because of the cap hit for Sherwood, is this bordering on an imminent trade for him, do you think?
Well, I think teams are going to be a lot more open to making a move now versus having to wait for somebody else, whether it's Kane or somebody else on the roster. This just went out on Monday, so everybody's still trying to clamor down and figure out exactly how they can do this. The Canucks are obviously going to try to generate the best and biggest return, so it might be in their best interest to give this a little bit of a leash before trying to making a move here with them. Like I said, a first-round pick from a top-tier contender is obviously high first round. The ask could be more than that because of you start creating a bidding war. It's like, all right, well, we'll take the first, but what else are you going to do to sweeten this pot in order to make this happen? Especially now, because now it's not just a matter of utilizing a good cap scenario to make a move now. It's also keeping him away from several other teams that are going to try to get him. And if you're looking at teams that are looking for offense, or secondary scoring at least that wants some physicality. I mean, take your pick. You look at the Central Division, all three teams at the top right now would be open to trading for a player of his caliber. Whether they want to give up the price, I don't know yet. But those are teams that would love to get their hands on a guy like Sherwood. Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota. You look at what else is out there. You look at the East. New Jersey would love to be able to add a big piece into their, to bring into their top or mid six. And yeah, there's talk of them looking at centers, but they're open to every scenario. The Montreal Canadiens, another team that aren't at the top right now, hovering. They're only 2 or 3 points out of first in their division. But this is another club that's out there looking to see where they can bring in somebody that fits the exact mold of a Kiefer Sherwood, as much as they'd like to address the center position, another team. So there's no shortage of suitors that would love to acquire this player. Now it's going to be a matter of Rutherford and Alvin trying to pluck away the biggest return.
Yeah, and you look at that Eastern Conference and how tightly bunched it is for playoff positioning. You got to think that one of them there looks and says, okay, how do we separate ourselves? Connor Garland, when we talk Garland, we're not talking draft picks here, David. Explain.
Yep. Yeah, no, exactly. This is going to be, the good old hockey trade, talent for talent kind of swap. There's no need to move him for future assets. He's under control for a lengthy period of time. He signed that new 6x6 deal that kicks in July 1. His no movement clause also kicks in July 1, but it doesn't apply now. And that's going to be the interesting thing. The Canucks certainly like him. There's a reason they signed him to a 6-year extension. They'd like to hold on to him, but they're still going to listen. And, you heard his name in the last week or 10 days or so, and you're like, all right, maybe that's just, teams poking around. And then the memo comes out and it makes a lot more sense. But this is going to be another situation where you've got to convince us to move Connor Garland. We're open to it. We're not going to shut the door, but you've got to convince us to do that. So you're talking about a player in his most likely primary piece, mid to late 20s, more on the mid side, that is controllable, that is under contract for a period of time. And then let's fill out the other pieces here. This isn't going to be, as I mentioned, Garland for a couple draft picks and a couple prospects. If he is moved, this is likely you're swapping out a different type of player in order to bring this guy in, and maybe a little bit younger that fits this this mindset now moving forward.
That's fine tuning, isn't it? Because this is not a large cap hit for Connor Garland. This is a guy that does so many things that the Canucks need to. I mean, he is. Look at the goal last night. We talked about that one being a great brochure if he is indeed on the market. I mean, I'm having trouble seeing the narrow path that they're trying to walk there, unless they're trying to get a center. But again, winger for center is not a likely scenario either, is it?
No, not particularly. But in those scenarios, you're talking about other pieces involved. This isn't, one for one kind of type deal. You're likely looking at other scenarios. So again, they're more than happy keeping him, but they're listening. And you've got to. This is a convinced situation. I think the most interesting thing, guys, about what the Canucks have done by letting this come out, or just sending out a memo. You can just call everybody. Yeah. But by doing that. You look at what they have and you look at all the no trade protection that's there with all the assets that would attract the biggest returns. They're almost immovable. So whether you're talking about, Garland or the pending UFAs with Sherwood, Kane, Bluger, Forbert, etc., this is quasi window dressing while trying to fill the youth and prospect and draft pick cupboard. So you're trying to say, hey, look, we're going to do something here. We're going in this direction. We're, sort of punting the season already, given where we're at by listening to all these offers. We'll cash in on Sherwood. We'll fill up a little bit with some of the other guys, and then maybe we'll make a bolder type move with respect to Garland. But outside of that, and if you're expecting an impact type addition, or a significant impact move here from this team beyond what we just discussed, I just don't see that being an option internally right now. Some are different scenario, but right now, I have a hard time looking at this going, all right, there are pieces here that make sense. Unless you're comboing this, unless you're going Garland, Sherwood, another piece, and now we're talking about a mega deal, which is not out of the realm of possibility. But if they're trying to move some pieces and try to fill their cupboards elsewhere by doing so, it's going to be again, window dressing is what I call it. But at the same time, you also have to prepare for, you're moving some assets for futures. You have to prepare for how the rest of the season is going to go.
Rutherford said he's trying to beat the trade deadline, basically trying to do whatever he was going to do at the trade deadline, doing it early.
Yeah.
But as you say, David, it's like you are just kind of ending your season early. You're not getting any better, most likely, with these trades. That's the peculiar thing for me, is for him to be acknowledging all this so early in the year. Doing all these moves on February 10th or March 1st, totally get it. Doing it this early, it's interesting in a Canadian market.
Yeah, I wonder if part of the reasoning or the decision process in doing this is a combo of trying to maximize your return, obviously, and seeing if there is a bigger deal, like a combo type deal that I just talked about. But the other has to be trying to light a fire under everybody's butt, trying to get these guys going, to say, hey, listen, we're going to listen now. This isn't January, February, March. We're going to start listening now. And if we get convinced of a deal, we're going to move you out. Or you can maybe convince us otherwise. Maybe you figure this out. Maybe you can get this going. I've got to imagine part of the messaging here is directly at the guys on this roster right now in an attempt to get them going and galvanize this group in some way. Piss them off enough where they start playing better and playing more consistently. I've got to imagine that's part of it, but it's not going to stop Rutherford and Alvin from listening on the guys that are available.
Big right shot defensemen are always in demand, particularly in the playoffs. And you understand there's interest in Tyler Myers, but it's more complicated than that, David.
It is, yes. One of the guys with the no movement clause, and his name always seems to pop up because there are teams that are interested, and he's got a few different situations that he's got off the ice that is affecting decision process with respect to him even considering a move. I don't get the sense that most of these guys, or any of these guys right now, that have a no movement clause are going to consider waiving it at this point. Especially guys that have committed to the market, committed to the team. Like Brock Boeser doesn't make sense. I know that his camp had a conversation a week ago with management, and they're happy with his game. That was the message that was relayed. So to do that and then suddenly pull a 180, I just don't see it in that scenario as well. So yeah, there are going to be teams that are continuously going to ask, and this happens on a regular basis, memo or not. Teams are going to call and say, what's the deal with him? Is there an opportunity for a conversation here? Yes, great. No, all right, moving on. That happens regularly. But as much as there are teams that have interest in Tyler Myers, I just don't see that being a possibility. I reached out to his camp as well, and they'd be surprised if anything comes across their desk in terms of a consideration to waive that no move.
Drew O'Connor, he's got a 12-team no-trade list. David, what are you hearing there?
Another player with interest, and this isn't exclusive, again, because, yes, the UFAs are the guys that are generating the most attention out of all this. And then you see Garland's name out there with teams trying to see what his our acquisition cost is. Drew O'Connor's another. He's got another year on his contract, solid cap hit overall. But they're not against moving guys with term that can be moved. And Drew O'Connor kind of fits into that mold. With that extra year, there is a little bit of controllability that teams will have. So you're not just looking at adding him now, you're looking at adding, for 2 runs. And this would be a team that is looking to make a run, that is trying to shore up their bottom 6. There was interest in him quite a bit before they acquired him from Pittsburgh when they did. And then, get that extension kind of in there. So, certainly there are going to be teams now that are going to look at Drew O'Connor, continue to look at Drew O'Connor as a possibility. Now, because of where he's at with, a little bit of say with that no trade list, and also just because he has that extra year, this is one that if it does happen, it could certainly happen sooner than later, but I would imagine it's happening a little bit closer to the second half of the season as opposed to where we are right now.
And lastly, for me, David, we talked about it yesterday. Canucks may very well be able to take advantage here of a seller's market. To the best of your knowledge, Is it the Canucks and the St. Louis Blues selling right now?
No, Nashville's very much in there, and I know Barry Trotz. Yeah, I know he's come out all week and said it's almost been a different message every day, which is interesting. But
probably says something.
The consistent. Too. Yeah, the consistent message out of all that is that they're listening, and they're willing to listen on almost everybody. I don't think they're at the point where they're going to blow this up and, start listing on Forsberg and Yossi and those kinds of guys. And I don't see a scenario where an in-season move involving a guy like UC Saros makes sense across a variety of different areas. But Ryan O'Reilly is the main guy. They've got a number of UFAs and Michael Bunting and Howla and others. I think they've got 5 pending or 6 pending unrestricted free agents that they're willing to listen on. In addition to those guys, plus Ryan O'Reilly, who has another year on his contract, Stamkos and Marchessault. And those are 2 guys that they are willing to move, that I think both guys are willing to go to a contender. They will be in a position to explore their options and see which teams are inquiring. They have full control in that scenario with their no movement clauses. But they want to be able to compete not just this year, but for the duration of their deal. Stammer has 2 more years. Marchessault has 3. And they got full control. The interesting thing there is Nashville is going to want to retain, or going to need to retain, at least on Stamkos' deal.
Yeah, for sure.
And one team that's kind of poking around and has been at the very least trying to find out a price is New Jersey. New Jersey is going to be active, not just at the dot position, but just looking to bring in somebody that slots into their top 6. And I'm looking at the Devils as a team that's at least had some conversations about some of those guys. But in terms of sellers markets, yes, Canucks, yes, St. Louis, add Nashville into that mix. And to an extent, Calgary is still listing on guys. I still think they're trying to determine what the heck they want to do internally. Even with Don Maloney coming out, their president, last week saying, pump the brakes, we're not sure yet. They're still open to having calls. And once they make that decision, I suspect there'll be a lot of activity out of there as well.
Quickly on the buyers, especially the bubble teams that theoretically right now might be close to a lottery. But a team, Toronto doesn't have a first-round pick, but other teams that are in that mix, New York and Edmonton and such, are teams going to be a little bit loathsome to peel off their first-round pick for deals to improve themselves for the playoffs, to try to make the playoffs? Given it's a pretty nice draft. There's a lot of players at the top here that are pretty impactful.
Yeah, and I think those teams are going to want to wait to see where they're at exactly before determining what direction they want to go. Like, unless you're getting a clear-cut star who's controllable, you're not really entertaining that mindset right now. Later on, if they're still near the bottom of the standings and it's looking bleak, then I think some teams are open to or willing to open that possibility. But right now, I haven't really gotten that sense. Now, that doesn't mean the top tier teams aren't willing to move out their first round picks and things of that nature. I think they are. But those bubble teams right now, and it's so hard because, you look at the Eastern Conference and, you've got 4 teams that are a point out. Some teams are tied in the standings with the final wild card. So teams still want to figure out where that gap is. Everybody I've talked to that are kind of in that mold, on the Insider Edition with Irf yesterday, we talked with Don Waddell, the Columbus's GM, and he said, there's a lot of talk, but there's no action right now because everything is so jam-packed. And that's the same message I've been getting from a number of teams as well, that yes, there's a lot of discussion. Yes, there's a lot of activity, but actual action, I don't know if we're there yet. So it may take a little bit more time, but for those bubble teams, they want to see exactly which path they're taking. Are they going left or are they going right? And if it's whichever direction isn't good, then they'll start opening up their minds to moving out additional assets.
The Rangers are interesting, guys, because the Rangers have 2 first-round picks. Mm-hmm. So
they're an interesting one.
So they could peel off one of those and see what happens.
And that's, because they want to keep that. They want to, especially with that owner. It's compete, challenge, be good. We need to sell tickets and merch and all that.
We know owners like that.
We want to be relevant.
We're familiar with those kinds of owners.
Well, the good news
similar
is
messaging there.
The good news is, David, if these teams need time to figure themselves out, hey, we got time.
Yeah,
we got time every Thursday to talk to you, my friend, going forward through deadline season. Appreciate this. We'll be watching DFO Insider on Wednesday with Irf, and we'll catch up a week from today.
Thanks, David.
Can't wait, boys. See ya.
Sekerson Price from the historic Wall Center. We're joined
Guerrilla
now by
marketing
Patrick
here.
Johnston of the Province and Postmedia, columnist, author of the new book, Gino.
Oh, does he have a new book?
Yeah, he's got a new book, and he's between one fern.
That's not a fern.
That's not a fern?
No.
There's ferns outside, but there's no. This is a. I don't even know what this is.
The
This is
ficus?
beautiful.
The ficus benjamina, I think.
I'll put myself on ease and O's, not a fern. Blake used to work at a garden center. I'm very surprised he's not able to identify the genus.
It's a palm or a ficus. One of
It's
the
a
two.
ficus. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Between two or one ficus. Fic guy?
I'm impressed.
Anyways, he
This
had the big
ficus guy,
story.
honestly.
He had the big story this week. A Vancouver Canuck executive uttered the word rebuild for the first time since, I think, Trevor Linden.
It was at the floor under his breath.
And as I called Patrick last night because I was like, Patrick, you may remember Trevor Linden finally got the monkey off the gorilla off his back. He uttered the word rebuild. They went out, they traded Alex Burrows, they traded Yannick Hansen. Everybody thought the rebuild was on. And then in July of 2018, suddenly he was out. And we learned that, he wanted to rebuild, but Francesco didn't. And Benning said, okay, I'll be your guy. So my big question is, did Rutherford say rebuild? And it was a qualified rebuild.
Yeah.
But did Rutherford say rebuild with the blessing of ownership?
Well, I mean, listen, he made it clear, and I sort of nodded at this the other day just from talking to people about this, and then he actually went and said it. Like, the focus is on getting young players. So, what is that? Is that a rebuild? Like, to me, and I wrote a column about this even before all this, saying whatever the word is doesn't matter. Like, I get why we want to say the word, but fundamentally, the task at hand is that they have to build a better team than they have. And if they really want to make it a good team, they got to get younger players. And so it was kind of funny to have him bring it up just unannounced. Like, I did not say, what are you calling this? Anything like that.
Yeah.
He said, the fact is of the matter, whatever you want to call it, we need younger players.
Well, here's the thing, though, Patrick, and I just might be slow to this because I just I can't believe until
I get it.
But Blake has been telling me the last 2 days that what Jim Rutherford said effectively means they are punting on this season. And I can't believe that for two reasons. Number one, punting on this season is effectively punting on Quinn Hughes. And number two, how in the world would ownership greenlight punting on this season in late November when you have so many home games and tickets to sell the rest of the way?
And
my brain cannot process that after watching nearly 2 decades of this franchise and this ownership.
Yeah. And I think punting on the season means to me bringing in a bunch of 19-year-olds who aren't ready to play. The task clearly is they want guys who are either sort of on the verge of being in the NHL or close to it, and guys that they can start integrating into the lineup. The recognition is that this is a team that needs to look to the future. They want to build a squad that will be together for several whatever number of years to come, and that's the story that's being sold. Some of this is a little bit of, I think, a reflection of what hasn't been there. I mean, what is the story for this season really in terms of a marketing sense has been, I don't know. I mean, we know from a hockey sense, the idea has been, well, and as Rutherford said, listen, we thought we were going to be in a playoff team. And we had some injuries and things have changed. And circumstances fundamentally have been different since we had to move on from JT Miller. That the team that they had, and I've said this, the team that they had, a year and a half ago, coming out of the very fun 2024 playoff run, the thing that everyone wants, to be clear, if this pops up on some random Canucks social media feed, let's be clear, we all want to see the team win. Losing sucks. And that's what they want to get back to. But the truth is they don't have, the team that they were building does not exist anymore. And that was what Rutherford made clear to me. And I mean, listen, he spelled it out, but if we all watch it and we can all see where things are at. The moment that things started to fail last year, the moment they moved on from JT Miller, this team was going in a new direction. And I don't know why they weren't clearer about that. I mean, they did have this dream of getting a second line center, yada, 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 and sort of reshaping, I guess, what they had. But here we are. And we'll see where they go. We'll see what actually happens. I mean, he's not wrong. The four guys that are on pending UFAs, so Kane, Bluger, Forbort, and Sherwood, are all guys that move at the deadline. Those are the types of players that move the deadline. A center who's a checking center, who can take some face-offs, a hardworking winger who scores you goals, who's maybe on a heater but is playing the best hockey of his life, a guy who likes to throw hits, who isn't the two-way force he should be, but is still a useful depth, could be a depth winger, and a solid, although often injured, depth defenseman. I mean, all those guys are guys that get moved at the deadline. And so that was simply what Rutherford's message was. I texted him in the morning, and I saw the stuff kind of popping out on Friday or Monday night. I was, out and about. I wasn't working. And, you get up in the morning, how can I advance this story, right? How can I make this a story that we want to tell? And shot him a note, and he called me back. And so that when he calls you back that he has something to say, because he knows what the topic is. And I said, right off the top, what do you want to do here? On record, off the record? He goes, let's go on. Basically said, well, it's up to you. I said, well, let's go on the record. Let's talk about all of this. And we talked about all of this, and you saw the result.
Let me ask you about this, because this is the other piece that I didn't understand. And you just repeated it too. And I know you're smart. Let's get younger.
Yeah.
This team is the 5th to 8th youngest team in the NHL as we speak. So I take umbrage with him saying we need to get younger.
Right.
They just need to be better. Their young players need to be better young players. But actual age, there's nothing wrong with what their age is for their place in their development. They're a young team. They're just not a good team.
Yeah, and that brings us to, I think, an answer he gave that was very interesting to me, where he talked about, listen, we can talk about young players making mistakes all you want, but veterans make mistakes. Guys make mistakes. And it was funny. He didn't say exactly what you're saying, but in a way I felt like he was nodding at that. Sure, he can. You're absolutely right. He can talk about all the younger players he wants, but fundamentally his team needs to be better. Yeah. And this is who they have, to paraphrase a former Vancouver Canucks coach. This is who they have, and what they have right now hasn't been getting it done. I mean, they got it done last night. It was a very fun, entertaining game against Anaheim.
But they lose that game 3 out of 5 times, probably.
Yeah, that. Well, and that's the team they are. That's a 500 team, right? That's a coin flip team, and that's not who they want to be, and that's not a way to go forward, irrespective of the Quinn Hughes question.
Do you know whether Quinn is on board with getting younger and trading out vets and UFAs?
I don't know, and that's why I asked him the question, and the way I phrased it in the story was pretty much verbatim. The question I asked him was, this is a plan. Has this a kind of plan you've discussed with Quinn? It's the elephant in the room. You've framed it yourself. That is a topic that is always going to be there. And we saw the careful answer he gave. So
do you think that they're confident in the Quinn file?
Remind us, which one is that? That's we know the direction we're going. We know the direction.
They know the direction we're going. They know the direction they're going.
Did you perceive that to mean the direction they're going? That the direction they're going is out of Vancouver.
Whatever it is they want. I took it to mean whatever it is what is it they're looking for from us?
Right. But where do you think his optimism level is on the file right now? If you had to guess, based on his tone and everything, do you believe in the optimism that they sometimes are saying right now?
Not especially. I mean. Yeah, I've been around this long enough. This is he's been around this long enough, right? 4 coaches in five years. That's the reality.
Yeah. And
right now the team's not playing very well, and it's not clear what comes next. The coach he really liked left. I hope I'm wrong. I'm just very skeptical of where this.
And your understanding is they had to talk to him about his lower lip and his tones with the media? Have you heard anything about that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, I mean, I mean, I think Jim said it last week. I think the IMAC was, listen, he's like behind the scenes, he's been great, and on and on. I mean, he has to be. He's the captain. This is his team, but not being able to put out the results and not being, in the end, having to constantly will his team to win. I mean, that's fun and all, but it's also, I'm sure, exhausting. And all just the stuff, and whether it's honestly dealing with us or not, I don't know. Like, this is the team, this is where he's at, and certainly he's not projecting that he's having very much fun, and he certainly doesn't have any story to tell us, which is fine. But I mean, if you're playing for the people paying the bills, they want to hear what you're doing. That's what we do. We convey the questions and concerns that they have and try to deliver them answers. So,
do you think their home record matters? They're now 7-5-1.
Absolutely.
They're 7-5-1 on the road, Patrick. There's nothing
Perfectly
wrong.
fine.
There's
Second
nothing
year in a row where you watch them play on the road and you go, "There's nothing wrong." I mean, this is all you can expect from this group of players, which, needless to say, not the most talented.
Yeah, like 23-24, which admittedly, they had some bounce to go the road, but fundamentally they were playing tight defensive hockey. They scored goals. The power play was humming. I can't remember. They won 25 home games or something that season. Like, It's the same group. It's the same group. It's the same leaders. Like, that's the thing.
Makes no sense.
Well, no. So
this should be a better defensive team, like in terms of the actual players on paper on the blue line. Now, Elias Pettersson has not played very well, but other than that, I mean, this is a capable blue line.
It's
very
capable. Capable blue line, and Adam Foote, like, they are playing differently. They talked about reads. It's going to be more about reads than it is about the sort of system and the discipline of the system.
Yeah,
and that's more chaotic. It's depending on every guy making the right decision. So that's been a struggle at times.
Yeah. I asked all those Quinn questions because, of course, he was in the room with Foote and management the other day. So, I mean, just the optics, the specter of all of that is, needless to say, very interesting. If I can move on.
Yep.
Do you anticipate they will have a goaltender named Thatcher Demko or Kevin Lankinen available to them next week in Denver against the Avalanche for the final game of this trip? Or does it matter because you're drunk on Nikita Tolipilo?
I'm drunk on Nikita Tolipilo. Listen, if Lankinen shows up, I'm sure we'll see Lankinen. Demko, just on the timing of it all, like, and I was a bit confused when I first saw it. I was like, wait, what's going on? Because they have a day off on Sunday. They technically are practicing today in Anaheim. They stayed over in Anaheim, then they fly up to San Jose. What day is this?
Yes.
Yeah,
practicing today in Anaheim. Right. Their day game in San Jose tomorrow, right? So they're practicing today, flying up to San Jose. Part of the story here is that it is actually reality is that, like, San Jose has there's sort of curfews in the airports. All of these airports all have time stuff. And I suppose the ongoing insanity in the US, but anyway. So they're practicing Anaheim today, and Demko and Höglander aren't expected to join them until they get to LA on Friday night, which is after the San Jose game. They'll have, I guess, maybe an optional skate. I don't know what they're doing Saturday morning. And then, of course, they're playing the Kings, and then on a back-to-back, and then they're off. They have a scheduled day off on Sunday, so that's off, as we know, right? Like,
why fly down with no practice? It doesn't make sense.
Well, then they're practicing in El Segundo on Monday.
Oh, on the double day off.
So this is clearly they made this. I mean, I don't have this officially, as someone said, but clearly they picked this as one of their, like, let's have a little team. I imagine they're having rookie dinner on Sunday night or something like that. Because they're staying in Santa Monica. They're not actually staying at LA Live. Like, traditionally they've stayed at, there's a Ritz-Carlton or something at LA Live. So they're out. So then they're flying to Denver. So the first time they actually practice on this, well, other than today, with Demko in attendance, will be on Monday. And, like, there's no way he's practicing one game and then one day and then playing the next. Like, his first practice back. Like, he hasn't skated with anybody. It's just there's just no way that he's going to be back. So, I could see it at the back end of next week or the week after that. But realistically, for a guy that's been out for a couple of weeks and just has not been playing, and given the concern, I guess it was a groin injury, like they're not going to rush him back. So no, you're not going to see Demko on this trip. You'll see him in a week or two. In early to mid December. That's when
back to backs 5th and the 6th, December 5th to 6th. That Friday, Saturday.
It feels a bit. That still feels tight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't looked the rest of the calendar because they're in Colorado on Tuesday, right? Fly home. And then
day off, practice day, and then back to backs.
Probably, presumably, day off, practice day on Thursday, and then they'll have one more practice. Like, it's hard to imagine with that routine him actually getting into one of those games, having only had 2 practices. But
and then they have a 2-game week after that, so they could ostensibly kick this can to New Jersey on December the 14th. They only play 5-6 games between now and then.
I think realistically, that's what you're looking at. That's what you're looking at is that second week of December is when it's actually he'll likely be back.
I think even goaltending coaches got bored listening to you two map this out over the next 3 weeks. I threw you a juicy fastball there on Tolipilo, and we turned it into let's map the goaltending for the better part of 3 weeks.
Tolipilo is a great story. He is a question now. I think when they brought him into, or Ian Clark brought him in 2 years ago, it was clear how excited he was on this prospect. Right, this is a giant guy with lots of raw material to work with. If you wish to repeat this one again, Matthew, we could say that the clay is wet. Moist. Could go with ghost again.
I would prefer not to use that metaphor. He's a bit of a wild goaltender. That was not like the quietest. That wasn't the quietest performance I've seen in between the pipes.
But it was fun.
Yeah.
The whole game was street hockey.
Oh my God! But listen, he made 38 saves. In a game where absolute chaos. How much fun are the Anaheim Ducks?
Oh. God bless the Anaheim Ducks and Joel Quenneville for if that's how they play on a nightly basis, they are the best show in hockey. And let's hope whatever they do this year leads to winning, because I want copycats of the Anaheim Ducks in the way that was the most fun I've had watching a Canucks regular season game. And I don't remember when. That was. Even if somehow they collapse at the end and they lose this game in regulation, Patrick, that is 2.5 hours well spent in front of your television.
And the memo, again, back to we need to get younger. I think most people would consider the Anaheim Ducks a quote-unquote young team, right?
Well, yeah, and that's what I wrote this morning, because this is the way forward.
Michael Granlund, Chris Kreider, Alex Killorn, Frank Vetrano, Ryan Strome, Ross, they've got a ton of 30-year-olds.
Yeah.
So
but they got a superstar 20-year-old center. That Carlson kid is the real McCoy. I was skeptical when they took him over Fantilli, but holy cow, is he a player?
I thought Seneca was great.
Seneca is terrific too.
Fred Terry reminds me. I mentioned this a little this morning. That how there was some in the COVID season. I know there were some conversations between the Canucks and the Ducks about that. I remember hearing about that. I coulda, woulda, shoulda. I think the Ducks in the end, because they really loved the player, but they were getting frustrated. And anyway, there was a near miss there, or a near hit with the Canucks, but it didn't.
Wow,
so.
Great stuff. Have a good weekend, okay? And we'll catch up next week.
See you guys.
Carson Price from the historic Wall Center as we welcome in our Canucks reporter, the host of RinkWide Vancouver. They'll be busy this weekend, Friday after the San Jose 1 p.m. matinee game, and then, of course, Saturday night after the Canucks game against the LA Kings. But it's been a very big week of news for the Vancouver Canucks, and it's our first opportunity to unpack it all with Jeff Paterson. Jeff, how we doing?
Yeah, good. It has been an eventful week, and it was a wild win. It was fun hockey. We had a lot to talk about on RinkWide, and we'll see. I kind of feel like it's going to be a primer for the San Jose game because the Sharks don't really defend either, and so maybe the Canucks getting ready to pick up back-to-back wins. Dare I say it, back-to-back wins for the first time in a month.
And bring it on. If the Sharks play like the Ducks, I'll take that game 82 times a year. And California, you have the two fun teams, and then you have the LA Kings and their
to be fair, we've not only lambasted the Canucks for just their quality overall, but their quality of entertainment in particular. So they didn't waste 2.5 hours of our attention last night. So I thank them for that, Jeff.
Honestly, Jeff, last time you can remember a game that fun from the Canucks.
Well, I mean, you could point at the 8-5 game in Florida, although I didn't find that game nearly as endearing as last night's. And there were more goals. There was third-string or fourth-string goaltenders in that game. Canucks scored 5 in both of them, but last night was just wild with the lack of defense. I mean, the 2-on-0 shorthanded breakaway, and it felt like everybody had a breakaway in that hockey game. And so kind of racking my brain here. I mean, we've spent a lot of time talking about how dismal the Canucks have been on home ice and the atmosphere at Rogers Arena. I don't think they play differently. I don't think they approach the games differently on the road, and yet they have scored 5 or more on 6 different occasions this season, and only one of those has come in front of the home fans, and that was opening night against Calgary. That feels like a million years ago. So save some of the fun for the home games. You may not win them all, but at least, as you said, people will feel like they were entertained, they got their money's worth, and so it is strange. Like Max Sasson has scored all of his goals on the road. Drew O'Connor, 5 of his 7 have come on the road. Evander Kane, 3 of his 4 have come away from home. They got to figure out a way to, a little more offense at home, maybe leads to a few more victories along the way. Whatever the case, they have been pretty good on the road, just been terrible at home.
My one theory on it is that they just go onto road games feeling like they are up against it, like they are the underdogs. And I don't know that I get the same vibes from them at home games. And they really should start to think that, because they are the underdogs. They are overmatched in all games now. But I don't know. It's like they feel written off in road games, and so they want to prove us wrong.
Yeah, I mean, there might be something to that. Somebody should just hand them a copy of the standings before they go out on the ice at Rogers Arena then. That would kind of be the reality check that perhaps they need. They found a way to get out in front, even though other teams have come back. I mean, both Florida and Anaheim erased 2-goal deficits, and then the Canucks, they figured it out and got it right last night in Anaheim. Game got away from them against Florida. But, it's wild to think 6 goals in Tampa, 5 in Florida, 5 more in Anaheim. Again, they get outshot badly, outplayed for long stretches, but they are riding an absolute percentage bender away from home when it comes to putting pucks in the net. So we'll see how long it lasts if it carries on here on this road trip. Again, it makes for entertaining hockey, and it certainly gives us lots to talk about and break down on every episode of RinkWide.
All right, let's get to the events of the week, Jeff, because we're sitting here doing Monday's show. We're about to connect with you live from Rogers Arena after what seems like another practice. And then there's a delay on the coach's media availability. Pick it up from there. What did you see?
Yeah, it was pretty standard. It was a Monday practice after the bad loss to the Calgary Flames, and so practice looked like most practices do. We went in the locker room, talked to the players that we wanted to talk to, and then we're told that the coach would be out momentarily. That was pretty standard operating procedure for covering an NHL practice day. And then the wait began. And it continued. And basically, we watched as Quinn Hughes went into the coach's office. We then saw Patrick Allvin and Jim Rutherford. At that point, a summit had been convened in the bowels of Rogers Arena, and really weren't sure what was going on. And even the PR staffers weren't certain about the events of the day as they were unfolding in real time. Anyways, it took about an hour for Adam Foote to finally come out and meet the media, and that's when he dropped the cashews and cigarettes line, among other things. As it turns out, we all get what we need at the rink, go our separate ways. And then I don't think it was a coincidence that Monday night the story comes out as they prepare to embark on a 4-game trip that's going to keep them out of town for the better part of a week here. Jim Rutherford says what he says. The word gets out. First it was Friedman and I know Drance, and PJ talked to Rutherford himself. It all felt very calculated that because they weren't going to be like, can you imagine if that story gets out on Monday and they've got a morning skate at home on Tuesday? The Hawks that would have descended on Rogers Arena and all the players would have been asked all about their futures and what's going on. Again, the hockey club knew the schedule is what it is. They're going away for a week. And so I think it kind of allowed management to air this story, get it out there and just let it breathe a little bit.
Yeah, it sounded calculator, and of course there's a calculation now going forward. Do you interpret what Rutherford had to say to PJ as the Canucks punting on this season? And do you see any world where Quinn Hughes is back next year if they are, in fact, punting on this season?
Punting on the season, I think it was just a reality check. Again, these comments came in the wake of probably their worst loss of the season. When you look at the opponent, when you look at the way that game shook down, it was inexcusable on Sunday. Like, you're going to lose, and they have lost a bunch, and they'll lose a bunch more as the season goes. But Calgary had played the night before. Canucks got a goal, 65 seconds into the hockey game from Philip Rodick. Like, they got the start they were looking for, and then just watched as the Flames took over. And that second period was so dismal and inexcusable, quite frankly. Again, take the result out of the question. This is pro sports. More is expected. More has to be expected from these guys. And that second period just looked like a team that basically didn't give a damn. And I think management must have seen it the same way. And so, I sort of connect the dots a little bit here. As far as punting on the season, look, they're tied for 29th. Even the win in Anaheim, they're tied for 29th in the standings. They've got their work cut out for them. And I think they've come to this conclusion that through many of their own decisions, flawed roster construction, some failed bets right off the top with Thatcher Demko and Tolipilo both staying healthy, and they try Lucas Reichel as a patch that didn't work, and now you've got David Kampf as your second-line center. You're not moving forward as a successful National Hockey League outfit, and I say that with all due respect to David Kampf. He shouldn't be the second-line center on this hockey club. So I think I'm at a point now where, if they punt on the season, so be it. But you're right. I mean,
but does that lose Hughes? I mean, yeah.
Well, that's just it. I mean, you can say, hey, punt on the season, but there are bigger dominoes to fall here. Again, I'm not in Quinn's head. He hasn't looked like he's having a ton of fun. And that's fine to some degree. But ultimately, he is going to have to make a decision here. And I hope that he would do right by the Canucks. And I think he would. Like, I don't think he's going to play himself to unrestricted free agency and just walk. I think he will alert the Canucks to his decision if he gets to that point where he is, in his mind, sold on the fact that it's not happening here. I suppose the Hail Mary for the Vancouver Canucks is the $18 million by 8-year offer that they could make to this guy that nobody else in the National Hockey League can right now. And Quinn's going to get paid wherever he goes. So I don't know how much of this is money and how much an $18 million a year offer could sway him. But it is the one card that my guess is, they may have discussed some degree of framework. I don't know if the Canucks have actually laid that kind of proposal in front of Quinn Hughes. But we know the brother connection. I think more than anything, though, it is about winning for Quinn Hughes. And this is a guy that's now 26. So he's still got lots of years ahead of him, but it's not like he's got forever to be part of a Stanley Cup winner. And so I think that's going to drive his decision through all of this. If they completely break this thing down, it would be hard for me to see Quinn Hughes envisioning a path forward to being a Stanley Cup champ here in Vancouver. So I've said it all along. I hope I am wrong. I enjoy watching Quinn Hughes, best defenseman certainly, and one of the best players in franchise history. We all know that. I hope I'm wrong, but I have solidly been in the camp that thinks that when push comes to shove, he is going to pursue a career elsewhere at some point. And I just don't know when that time is going to be.
Whether it's through the Quinn Hughes lens or not, it's just objectively super early to trade off assets. Like, even teams that are absolutely committed to a rebuild, this would be very early. I mean, we are not even into December, for heaven's sakes. Is there any chance?
We've arrived at U.S. Thanksgiving, so I think these conversations can now officially be talked about. I know, like, Irf didn't ever want me looking at the standings on RinkWide, but he was okay that we reached U.S. Thanksgiving. That kind of changes the framework a little bit. But you're right, and it takes two to make a deal. And I think there are a lot of teams out there that may not even know what they want or what they need at this point. And so the Canucks can say we're open for business to try to gauge the playing field and get a sense of, the value of some of their assets. But I also think that there are a lot of teams that, whether it's financial, whether it's they want to give their own team another 15, 20 games to really get a sense of where they are and what they need. I mean, that's part of why we haven't seen the trade market. So, yeah, you can put the shingle out on your front lawn that you're having a garage sale, but that doesn't mean that you're going to get all these people flocking to your front door on your terms. So we'll see where it goes through all of that. But the other part in this, guys, is like the one quote that Jim Rutherford had to Patrick Johnston about really this is just moving it up a couple of months. He's suggesting that they were going to get to this point where they were going to trade all these players off, right? Did we not go through this exercise just 6 months ago where they had pending unrestricted free agents and opted not to? I mean, a slightly different situation as far as the standings were concerned, but there's a big part of me that will believe it when I see it, that these guys will actually get into seller mode, because whether it's management, whether it's ownership, again, it's one thing to talk about it here in late November, but it is another to actually start to strip this thing down.
Well, with that in mind, Jeff, is there any chance it's just a motivational tool that they actually don't want to pull off any deals right now? They're just going to see how the team reacts to this becoming public.
I don't see it that way, and yet the first game out after the comments, they do what they had to do to get a victory. So we'll give them another chance, I suppose, and see how the weekend goes here. But I don't think one win in isolation should change anything around this hockey club. Again, they need elite level talent. I don't know where they're going to find that. I don't think they should be parting with any sort of assets to address that need for the remainder of this season. So I do think that they should be sellers, whether it's now or in the months to come. And Kiefer Sherwood is a player that I think any team with playoff aspirations should be hot and heavy after. Like, I just think this guy could help just about any team in the National Hockey League, especially at this price point. But, it's abundantly clear now that last year wasn't the outlier, that there is more skill there. He has continued to back it up with physical play, penalty killing. There's just a lot to like in Kiefer Sherwood, and I would think he could help any team in the National Hockey League. And the same goes for Connor Garland. And look, I get that they committed to Connor Garland and he's got the extension there. And, is that a bad look on the Vancouver Canucks if you recommit to a guy and then turn around and try and peddle him? But, good teams, they want to win at the fringes. And I think whether it's Kiefer Sherwood or a Connor Garland, you would be beefing up your third line. Like, either one of those guys would really help a playoff-bound team a little bit lower in the lineup. And I guess for me, the Canucks are probably trying to sell Kiefer Sherwood as a leading goal scorer on a National Hockey League team, and yet acquiring clubs are saying, well, hang on a sec, we're looking at him as more of a third liner here. So that's all part of the negotiation, right? And ultimately, you have to figure out the best value and the best option available for the Vancouver Canucks. And so we'll see where that one goes. But I do think that's part of this dynamic of, we think we've got a leading goal scorer, which they're not wrong. It's just that he's a leading goal scorer on a bad hockey club. And
yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, Jeff. I mean, that goes on with every trade negotiation, right? Yep. You find the dings and dents and scratches, and the other guy is selling you the perfectly polished. Is a late first enough then for Sherwood, Jeff? Would you accept a late first?
In my mind, it is. I think just optically, the word first rounder, I think if you're trading to a good team, it's going to be the back end of the first round. But if the Vancouver Canucks can turn a year and a half of Kiefer Sherwood at the price point they had him and all the goals that he's given them and the hits record and everything, if they can turn that into a first-round draft pick, I think that's pretty solid business. And it would give them 2 first-rounders, something that they haven't had for a little while. And when you look back at one of the reasons they are where they are with this lack of elite-level talent, they've traded too many first-rounders here in the last 5 or 6 years. They've had other guys that haven't panned out, obviously. I mean, that is a big part of the talent drain for the Vancouver Canucks. And, you look at the Anaheim Ducks, they haven't won anything yet, but they certainly look like they're on their path, and they are a team that is built at the top end of the draft. So I'm not talking about the Canucks getting, and their own pick could end up, I guess, being a lottery pick. But if you're getting a first rounder from somebody else, again, probably a playoff-bound team that will put the pick in the late half of the first round. But I still think that would be pretty solid work on the part of this management group to turn Kiefer Sherwood into any sort of first-round draft pick.
I'm not going to suggest the Canucks get better if they trade away Garland and Sherwood or Kane and Sherwood. But certainly in the Kane-Sherwood scenario, Jeff, I think you could make the argument there is a narrow path where they are no worse, in that Jonathan Lekrimaki has played very nicely at Abbotsford since coming back from injury, and it would open up a spot for him. And, of course, you've got Nils Höglander in the on-deck circle here in the next week as well, who, if you get the real Nils Höglander, is a Sherwood-like kind of player. So there is a world in which they don't get demonstrably worse if Lekrimaki and Höglander can show up and be the players that they want them to be.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, if they're going to strip it away, I do wish that there was a little bit more in Abbotsford that they were clearing a path forward for. Unfortunately, that's just who they are and where they are. But you're right, Höglander's sort of the forgotten man, out of sight, out of mind here. But such a wild card, too, because you just don't know whether you're getting the 8-goal Nils Höglander, the 24-goal Nils Höglander, or 2 years ago. Plus, he's trying to pick up and hit the ground running when everybody else has 30 or 35 games under their belt. And we saw how difficult that was for Dakota Joshua last year, different circumstances, but still a lengthy layoff from the start of the season, and you are in catch-up mode right away. And also, Nils Höglander comes back. Does he get a chance to play with Elias Pettersson? If he doesn't, I mean, the center ice options in terms of puck distribution and playmaking, not terribly attractive. And so for him to get back to being that 24-goal guy from a couple of seasons ago, some of that's going to be on him, but he can't do it in isolation. But no, to your broader point there, I think a lot of people would sign up for that. If you could move Kane and somebody else and plug those two guys in, you're getting younger. You hope you're getting a little bit hungrier, and ultimately, those are players that you can move forward with both now and over the longer haul, where Evander Kane's not going to be around here long term. And I just don't know at this point. I mean, it's good that Kane scored in Anaheim. I just don't know what, if any, trade value he has. And the same sort, Teddy Bluger, penalty killing utility, the fact that he's been hurt doesn't help their cause here. But either way, you're not getting franchise altering returns for those types of players. And so that's why I think I would be all in on looking long and hard at shopping both Kiefer Sherwood and a guy like Connor Garland that could return you, I think, reasonable, almost significant assets.
I'll leave you both with this, and I will concede it is not apples to apples, but there are some similarities here. Do you guys remember when the Nashville Predators traded Tanner Jeannot?
Mm-hmm.
And look, at the time he was an RFA. Kiefer Sherwood is a UFA, and he was younger. He had 24 goals the previous season. He was not actually having that great a year at the time of the deadline. And yes, it is also true that Tampa was Stanley Cup or bust at that time. Do you guys remember the return for Tanner Jeannot?
Well, it was 5 draft picks, wasn't it?
That's right. Cal Foote, Adam's son, who was a first-round draft pick in his own, a first-rounder 2 years down the road, a second-rounder 1 year down the road, and then 3 picks, a third, fourth, and fifth in that upcoming draft. Shoot big for Sherwood.
Yeah.
Hockey men will love him. Somebody, I'm not sure you're getting that price because I'm not sure anybody's getting that price. It didn't work out for Tampa. But I think they should aim awfully high for a Kiefer Sherwood return, especially at this early stage of the season. Jeff,
right,
you got
and that's on management. That's on management to drive the best bargain and create a market here.
Market your player.
When I say that, I think there should be a bunch of teams that want to sink their hooks into Kiefer Sherwood, who we see the on ice, but he's as low maintenance as they come. He's just a good locker room figure. He would fit in seamlessly anywhere. They have to sell all of those traits to an acquiring team here and hopefully drive a market for this player.
100% right, Jeff. You got a busy weekend ahead with RinkWide Vancouver following the 1 p.m. matinee start in San Jose on Friday, and then the conventional Saturday night after the Kings and Canucks. Jeff and RinkWide Vancouver have you covered. We'll catch up on Monday. Thank you for this, sir.
Yeah, have a great weekend, guys. So we'll reconvene and see what this weekend holds when we talk again on Monday.
Sekeres and Price from the Historic Wall Center in the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio, built by Arbor Lee. Big game downtown, making more than a night, making a memory. Stay steps from the action at the Sheraton Vancouver Wall Center with an exclusive Sekeres and Price rate. Call 604-331-1000. Mention the show. Some blackout date supply, subject to availability. Vancouver Whitecaps FC announced they will be hosting a viewing party at BC Place for Saturday's big Western Conference final against San Diego. Tickets are $10. Net proceeds to the Whitecaps FC Foundation. The first 15,000 fans in the building will receive rally towels. Thomas Muller says he's good to go. Now, we were watching the game thinking, oh, he must just be gassed after 90-plus minutes. There was a bit of a hammy there, Blake. Hamstring wasn't perfectly good when he had to leave the pitch against LAFC. Brian White says he was subbed off just to manage his minutes. He has been hurt
I felt like, yeah.
of late. He told Harjo Hall of Daily Hive he can go more than an hour if need be, but it still sounds like they may need a substitution at striker. We'll see. And Har also reports Andres Kubis is able to travel. He has his paperwork in order, Mike, and it's a good thing. If you missed that story last week, he accidentally washed his passport in a pair of pants, destroying the document. He was unable to join Paraguay for their international window. I hope the Whitecaps had like 10 people on that file. He is indispensable. He has got to get across the border and play defensive midfield.
He was very close to making it in time for his Paraguayan second friendly, so no surprise that he's ready to go for this one. The other question for me is Ryan Gauld just a bench player the rest of the season? Now, he ended up going an unscheduled hour on the weekend because of extra time, and I was watching that so closely because that was not the plan. They substituted him when they did because they wanted to give him 30 minutes, and then all of a sudden extra time happens, and Ryan Gauld's got an hour to play. I'd love the truth serum on how he actually feels right now. He's been saying that he's been sore after games. So after doubling his not season high, but his post-injury high to get to an hour, how is Ryan Gauld doing? And if he's doing good, like, does that open it up now? Like, can he just start?
Well, adding to that, he may be a little fatigued these days, although I'm sure he is also inspired. He's a new father. He and his better half welcomed baby boy Ruben Stuart Gauld last week. Does Stuart have to go in every Scottish name? Like, do you have to find room for Stuart, first name, middle name, last name? Somewhere in there's got to be a
spelling.
Oh, the Scottish spelling. Come on. Stew.
W.
Beware the new father, as Jim Nantz says. They can tend to play freely, right? They're playing for a bigger purpose.
I generally
when they welcome a new one.
generally think about that more in contact sports. Like, it's like,
well, it's golf. We're golf. They win. They have a baby. They win a major. That's
really?
how it works. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Blue Jays, bridesmaids no more. They make the first huge splash of Major League Baseball free agency, giving right-handed pitcher Dylan Cease $30 million per year over 7 seasons. Now, Cease gives them an ace when he's on going forward. 2 uneven years in the last 3 in a pitcher-friendly ballpark of San Diego. Plus, he struggles from the stretch with runners on base. That's the book on him. But elite stuff. Durable as all hell. I mean, he hasn't missed a start in years. He's kind of like Barrios and Gausman in that regard. Oh, Barrios before he got hurt. And one of the best sliders in the game. This is a strikeout pitcher, fly ball pitcher. Should benefit from guys like Varsho patrolling center field for him. And the Blue Jays get their work done early here. They get the jump. Cease was viewed as maybe one of the top 3 starters on the free agent market. And again, his highs are as high as anyone who was available maybe outside of Framber Valdez, the Houston lefty.
So the question is, though, the ever-present question, is your rotation built for the regular season or built for the playoffs?
So this is a guy who has knockout stuff, and on the right playoff day would be that postseason style pitcher. Like, now, look, is it going to be Yamamoto? Probably not.
Yeah. He's human, though, I think, as opposed to robots.
Yeah.
I'm looking for robots.
Well, I'm not sure there are any robots available in free agency this year. It's a bad year for robots.
Yeah.
Although, who knows? Maybe one of these Japanese pitchers is like Yamamoto.
And they're apparently interested in the Jays too.
Yeah,
so.
that lefty seems really interesting. The guy who said, no, I want to beat the Dodgers. I don't want to join the Dodgers. They have Japanese players. He said, I wanted to beat the Dodgers. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's good.
Seahawks, lots of activity there. They signed former Viking and Ram running back Cam Akers to the roster ahead of Sunday's home game versus Minnesota. It sounds like he's going to play, too. Added Patrick O'Connell, linebacker. And then old friend Shaquille Griffin and safety Quandre Diggs also signed. Of course, those two DBs, Griffin the corner, Diggs the safety, have played for Seattle before.
Yeah.
And Patty O, as they call him, is a special team standout. He needed to fill in at linebacker last week with Ernest Jones and Tyrese Knight missing an effort guy. But they're getting a little thin there. So reinforcements needed in that secondary and that second line. Defensively, they lead the NFL in quarterback hurries, so they can make it easier for those guys if they keep getting to the passer. Simon Fraser University wants to rejoin U Sport and Canada West for its varsity athletic programs. It is leaving the NCAA. It was at one time a member of Canada West and U Sport until 2010 when it left for Division II NCAA. They have also had programs play in NAIA. We'll find out early next spring whether they're in for next fall's varsity slate. The move plus cutting programs like softball, track and field golf, expected to save the university $800,000 plus on its athletic budget.
And this comes on the heels of schools like McGill slashing sports as well. And I worry for this, Matt.
It's quite expensive to operate varsity athletics at the U Sport level. There's not a ton of revenue that comes in to offset it, sadly.
But it'll be a loss if we lose, university sport in this country. I don't think it should just be football and basketball.
Well, fair enough. I mean, they're cutting these programs, but one fully anticipates there will be varsity football. There's no other kind. There will be varsity hockey at Simon Fraser, and I absolutely see a revival of the annual and with conference stakes Trumbull.
You think they're bringing back football there?
I think they'll bring back football events. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The most expensive of the sports
Indeed.
to run.
Yeah, it is. But it's also the one that does get you some exposure.
Yeah.
Like it tends to be the best attended.
Yeah,
of U Sport.
I mean, I don't think they're looking to sell tickets. I think exposure is certainly part of it, prestige.
Well,
and
plus
all
there's
that.
a glorious history of football up there. I mean, look at the players who have played up there: Suter and Caravata and Orville Lee. I mean, Couture here with the Lions.
It's been a long time since the
I
legendary
know.
name was left there.
Well, I mean, and that was a different model because, of course, guys like Julio and Orville, they were Toronto guys, amongst the best high school players in their class across the country, and SFU could give athletic bursaries at a time when other schools could not.
Is Rayson John the last notable
Rayson,
prospect?
a terrific player. Well, Couture, John, yeah. And they've had some guys. Results of the Redwoods Golf Course poll question from Wednesday. We asked you what makes more sense for the Canucks. Trade vets, trade Hughes, both or neither. And the people said?
Trade both.
Correct. Percentage?
48.
46. You've been pretty good this week. Trade vets got 37%. Neither got 12%. Trade Hughes got 5%. Graham, I hate the fact that I voted for both. It makes me very sad to see this team squander the best player and defenseman this club has ever seen because this management group couldn't get out of its own way. Very poor handling of the team over the last 2 years. Very questionable roster moves. Michael, for me, trading vets, and in my opinion, this question is phrased properly because it should not just be UFAs. The only reason I did not select both was because I only trade Hughes if he wants to go, and we are not 100% there yet. Yep. Dick says, rebuild. I know it will never happen, but one can hope. Kevin, Ivy, Tom, all saying trade vets. Errors and omissions from yesterday's program and beyond. I have one. We were talking about the Whitecaps back line, and I said Jodrik Pipa. and Sebastian Schonlau are their only cover there. I suppose there's Australian Giuseppe Bovalina, Blake. Now, he hasn't played a lot, but he does play at that position.
At center back. He plays left back or right back.
But back line.
Yes, but that could still change how you do it. It's been few and far between the minutes for him, but probably be a little bit more clear on the system perhaps over Pupa and Schonlau, but Pupa and Schonlau, obviously European veterans, so
yeah,
it's going to be interesting. We do have a Yerke correction as well. You did reference Tate playing in the game last weekend. You said Tate and Ralph were being tested on that side, but Tate did not play.
Yes, I said they were, when they were down to 9 men, they were giving up the left side of their defense. They were allowing guys to roam against the left side of their...
But you had mentioned Tate.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Appreciate you spending some time and connecting with the program. Please do subscribe to all our assorted channels, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Costs you nothing. Follow on social, X, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky Live on many of those platforms. Noon Pacific time, weekdays. We will be releasing a special show earlier tomorrow on Friday with that early Vancouver Canucks start in San Jose. And, of course, please do support the community sponsors you hear us talking about and keep it local.